Now, it's obvious that the agents that were there that day weren't there to protect Donald Trump. And whistleblowers are saying that many of them weren't even from Secret Service. And I've been saying that a lot. Senator Josh Hawley says that whistleblowers have come forward alleging the Biden DHS assigned, quote, unprepared and inexperienced personnel, end quote, to Trump who weren't even Secret Service. Shout out to Colin Rugg for that. Let's go ahead and check out this interview.
It really is. Tell us what these whistleblowers are telling you that is most alarming to you.
Well, one thing is that most of the detail assigned to Trump that day and to that rally were not Secret Service, that most of them were from other federal agencies, including Homeland Security. And Sean, they weren't prepared. They didn't know what the procedures were. They did not have the site locked down. They were not adequately patrolling the perimeter. As you just said a moment ago, they were leaving huge gaps. Whistleblowers also tell us that they were allowing people to come into the grounds who weren't checked. They weren't monitoring who was getting up around the stage. I mean, it's unbelievable, Sean. And having been there today myself, I can tell you, it is so close. That building where the shooter fired from is so close to where Trump was. The idea that you could have all of this time elapse and nobody notices, no law enforcement notices he's on the roof. One other thing, Sean, whistleblowers tell me that law enforcement were actually on different channels, different radio communication channels. There were multiple different channels and they weren't coordinated. Sean, it's a total disaster. Somebody needs to resign for this.
And of course, the speculation continues. Everybody is, speculating like this is definitely plotted by the deep state. People are saying this is definitely planned. This was a coordinated effort. Right here I'm reading. This was a coordinated effort by CIA, FBI, Bush cabal, Obama cabal, Clinton cabal, and Secret Service. Please prove me wrong. I can't even prove you right now. But everything is alleged right now until we can figure out all the definitive proof. But I will say this. Something is going on. Something is fishy. And I believe somebody said, I believe you are correct. He should have been asked to delay. Well, no, this is about something totally different. I don't want to do too much government cover up. Yeah. But anyhow, moving forward, Senator Josh Hawley says that the FBI tried kicking him out. I'm sorry, hit the mic. They tried kicking him out of the Pennsylvania rally site when he visited to see the things for himself. He said that he was appalled at how close Crooks was able to get to Trump. Not only that, does this not raise suspicions for you?
When I went to the site, the FBI has got more security on that site now than they did the night that Trump was shot at. I mean, the FBI, totally late, and they're trying to control the information. Sean, they tried to kick me off of the site. They said, get out of here. You shouldn't be on the site. We don't want you here.
Get out of here?
They are trying to control the information. Absolutely. They brought local cops, Sean. Get this. I'm there on site. I had permission from the local security operator to be there, and the FBI came out and said, you have got to leave. One thing is that most of the detail assigned to Trump that day and to that rally were not Secret Service, that most of them were from other federal agencies, including Homeland Security. And Sean, they weren't prepared. They didn't know what the procedures were. They did not have the site locked down. They were not adequately patrolling the perimeter. As you just said a moment ago, they were leaving huge gaps. Whistleblowers also tell us that they were allowing people to come into the grounds who weren't checked. They weren't monitoring who was getting up around the stage. I mean, it's unbelievable, Sean. And having been there today myself, I can tell you, it is so close. That building where the shooter fired from is so close to where Trump was. The idea that you could have all of this time elapse and nobody notices, no law enforcement notices he's on the roof. One other thing, Sean, whistleblowers tell me that law enforcement were actually on different channels, different radio communication channels. There were multiple different channels and they weren't coordinated.
As you can see behind me, this is the roof the shooter was on. It is a very low roof and it is very close to the fairground. I mean, it's right here. The president's stage was right over there, 150 yards or something away. And it's no wonder people could see him because this roof is low. This building is really close in and it's totally exposed. I mean, right where I'm standing, there were gobs of people. So it's no wonder that lots of folks saw him. The question is, why didn't law enforcement see him get on the roof? Why didn't they see him on the roof? Why didn't they go up and confront him before he started shooting or before he got on the roof when he was all in this area? It's so close together. It really, it's hard to understand.
I'm saying with that information alone, it don't raise suspicion for you. You don't sit here and go, you know what? This definitely Come on, dog. And then on top of that, the building is on the guy, you know, the gunman who, you know, is no longer with us. He was in a commercial with BlackRock, which owns the company who owns the company who owns the company who owns the building that he was on. So there's that fishiness there too. And the FBI and DOJ, we know how they feel about Donald Trump. Not all FBI for sure, but Biden FBI, let's say that. But somebody said this makes much more sense. This makes no sense. I'm sorry. This makes no sense. And then we got this Trump assassination attempt update. From this had looked like it came yesterday. Let's see what this is about, y'all. Let's see what this is about. It says whistleblowers have come forward stating most of Donald Trump's security on the day of the assassination attempt were not Secret Service. The DHS assigned unprepared and inexperienced personnel specifically for this day. Specifically for this day is the part that I wanted to read. I wanted to say and make sure I emphasize on outside of just saying the initial statement at the beginning of this video. But yeah. Specifically for this day, guys. Keep that in mind. Specifically for this day. And like they said, holy crap, that is suspicious as hell. And here's the email right here. The Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas, Secretary of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, getting the email to him from Josh Hawley right here. Yeah. And he identified everything that he said. How did DHS determine the staff of events, including any decision to rely on state or local officers? What percentage of the DHS agents at the event were from HSI rather than USSS? Were a majority of the officers at the event drawn from HSI or other DHS components rather than USSS? If so, why? Were HSI agents properly trained in staffing these types of events? Not if they DEI hires, I'm just saying. Did gaps exist in the security perimeter, and were the usual protocols followed for the use of canes and magnometers? I never read that word in my life before. Were agents not appropriately stationed around the podium? Were the standard protocols followed for issuing designated pins to vetted personnel that allow them backstage, that are allowed backstage? I'm sorry. How long did the agents physically spend on the ground surveying the site before the event? Did any paperwork obligations prevent a longer or more robust site survey? Y'all see these comments, they cooking. Where are the bullets? Did they recover them from the victims on the grounds? Definitely we need word on that. Somebody wrote. So yeah, I'm saying all this to say, reading all this to say, these are the correct questions to be asked, and it's definitely looking like an inside job thing. You know, all alleged though. All alleged. I have no proof to prove this. Makes no sense, man. But thank God for these whistleblowers who have come forward, because we got damning new information, according to Kyle Becker, that Donald Trump's security team was not comprised exclusively of highly trained security Secret Service agents. We know that from what we just, discovered. But let's go ahead and see what these clips are about.
Was every element, every part of his, from the intelligence to the counter assault team, to the detail agents, to the shift agents, I mean every element, top to bottom, of the advance in the operation, was every element increased after you learned of this credible threat?
What we increased was what we felt was appropriate for the former president and for that particular event on that day. We have been increasing the assets and the resources and the staffing that we have been providing to the former president since he was a presidential candidate and then the presumptive nominee. That's what I can tell you.
That sounds like a no.
I am not saying a no at all. I'm saying that we have continued to increase the resources that we've been providing.
Come on, Cheeto. I don't know about, let me know in the comments, did that sound like a no to y'all? Sounded like a no to me. Because all she had to do was, when that happened, I made sure we had more eyes on him. Made sure we had more, sights on him, if you know what I'm saying. Or, we made sure we advanced towards him to remove him from the situation. Stuff like that. But no, we did the necessary stuff that we thought for President Trump, blah, 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 blah. Come on, man. And Director Cheeto's claims also contradicted reports of an alleged Iran plot to unalive the former president that would have warranted enhanced protection too. Oh, man, there's just so many layers to this. What else we got?
Who is most responsible for this happening?
What I would say is that the Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president.
So the buck stops with you?
The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service. It was unacceptable, and it's something that shouldn't happen again.
The President and Homeland Security Secretary said today they had 100% confidence in you, but there are some members of Congress calling on you to resign.
I appreciate the Secretary's comments, and we're going to continue to be transparent and communicate with people.
You plan to stay on? Absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
I'm just saying, I can't deal with that type of person, bro. I don't know why it is normalized in today's age for people to dance around questions. Seriously, people annoy me. Oh, well, I got to do all the, bro, I ask you a yes or no question. Give me the yes, and then maybe I'd like to hear the explanation. But I didn't ask you a yes or no question to hear you give me some elaborate response. Hey, is the sky blue? Well, you know what? When I woke up today, I made this breakfast and I heard this song. And then when I decided to come outside, before I looked up, I looked at, but dude, is the sky blue? Oh, yeah, the sky is blue. That's all you had to say. It says the new whistleblower report is corroborated by video reports of Trump's security detail being woefully unprepared for the attempt. Crooks was on the Secret Service's radar as a suspicious figure had at least 40 minutes before the assassination attempt, y'all. Local counter-assault team was staged inside, quote, inside the building where the shooter was located, which rendered it ineffective in the response. The rooftop where the shooter attempted to unalive the president was carved out of the Secret Service perimeter, despite it being an elevated threat area. And y'all just seen Howley show us how low that building is too, but meaning how visible it is, and everybody was able to see it. A female agent had crouched down in front of Trump to allow a potential unalive shot. Y'all know we seen that angle as well. Female agent, well, and we can't confirm that, but that's the assumption right now. Female agents scrambled after the shooting, one being unable to properly holster a weapon. That's a fact. No surveillance drones were used except by the gunman prior to Donald Trump taking the stage, which is suspicious to me as well. Secret Service Director Cheeto had also implausibly claimed that an agency counter-assault team was not stationed on or near the rooftop where crooks had made the assassination attempt because of sloped roofs. And we all know that that's a pile of you know what. The Secret Service, it says right here, the Secret Service counter-sniper teams behind Donald Trump were positioned on sloped roofs, which throws it into extreme doubt Cheeto's dubious excuses for her agency's security failure. Really tried to sit there and make an excuse. And that excuse is honestly, that was the first thing that made me go, oh no, something's wrong. Wait, hold up. I didn't even have to see the video. I mean, you know, all of the videos, you know, to debunk what actually happened. I just looked at the footage itself and go, wait, she said because it's a slope roof, but wouldn't hurt people on the slope roof? That don't make sense. The Secret Service director's lack of honesty and transparency with the American people will only fuel the widespread belief that Trump's shooting attempt has been an inside job. And that's why we keep coming to this conclusion, man. We keep coming to this conclusion for that right there. Is these responses that y'all are giving us is real like,
So here's new reports. I just talked to a couple senators who received a confidential briefing. The new reports are demonstrating and showing that the United States Secret Service had eyes on the would-be assassin 62 minutes before the events unfolded. In fact, they identified him. They did not approach him. They did not talk to him. He was walking around with a rangefinder. That's what it's called, right, Dan? A rangefinder? And a backpack. Nobody confronted him. Then 18 minutes before the shooting occurred, they lost sight of him. And no one thought to say, hey, let's go find him or try to pull Trump off stage. They allowed Donald Trump to go on stage while this maniac, who they identified, was nowhere to be seen. And remember, there was no drone reconnaissance. There was no helicopter support. The building was already identified as being a potential threat. And yet he's able to pull out a ladder from his car, go on the ladder on the top of the roof, pull out his rifle, set up his shot and the counter sniper team doesn't even see him, even though they have the higher ground and the vantage point, and nobody during all of this says, get the protectee off stage, get Donald Trump off stage, get Donald Trump off stage. I've talked to a lot of senators here, and I sure hope this is incompetence, but at what point are we willing to say that maybe something else was at play here? This is one of the greatest potential political scandals, bigger than Watergate, where in broad daylight in Butler, Pennsylvania, they had a unguarded rooftop 120 yards away, and the would-be assassin who was identified, not confronted, and allowed to roam free and fire shots on Donald Trump. Only thanks to the glory of God does Donald Trump live. We're going to get to the bottom of this and find out who's actually responsible.
And last but not least, the Navy SEAL who, you know, did what he had to do to Osama breaks down the Trump attempt. And he also thinks that there's something suspicious going on.
You do a range card, you go out to at least 500 meters and you're looking at 360 degrees. And certainly any potential position elevated with a line of sight to the principal is way, way out of line. And a toddler could see that. Whomever was on whatever elevated position that close to the principal, it doesn't make sense to me. And I love to be on both sides and not be a conspiracy theorist, but this is not real. It's got to be inside. Yeah. There's no way that dude climbed up. There's no way that a deputy climbed up and saw him and backed down, and then he took quick. It's just, this doesn't pass a smell test, but it just fits in what the left is doing right now with what the communists do. Jail your opponents. You don't like your opponents, silence your opponents, then shoot your opponents.
Now, again, all of this information, for the most part, for everything that we just heard, all conspiracy until we get to the bottom of it and find the objective truth. So what we're hearing in this video and throughout this video, a lot of it is alleged. A lot of it is, like I say, conspiracy. It is, people, we're just trying to get to the conclusion of things. But I will say this, what he just said, he was just telling us what we already know.